you're supposed to feel.
Hi guys, welcome to the second part of the C programming course. So, I hope the previous lecture was quite easy to understand. Now in this lecture we will discuss about what are variables, what are data types, all the data types which are used in the C programming language. Then we will see what is the scope of a variable. Then, we will see how to do typecasting to a variable. Then we will see how to use format specifiers in the print condition. Then we will see how to add comments to your code. Then at the end of the video, we will have a challenge question. Try to solve the question by yourself. After some time, I will reveal the solution for the challenge. Okay, now let us start this session. So, we will see what are variables. So, in general, what are variables? A variable means that it can have multiple values. Now let's talk about the variables in C programming language. In the C programming language, variables are used to store different types of data. Now let me show how to declare a variable in C programming language. So, this is the basic syntax where first we include the preprocessor directive, then we include the header file, then we use the main function. If you have some trouble understanding the syntax, please check the part 1 of the video, which is the basic of C programming language. So now in this code, we see a new line. This is known as the variable declaration. Here it means we are declaring a variable of integer type. Now the equal to sign is the assignment operator. So now an important note, whenever you are declaring a variable, the right value is always assigned to the left value. Okay, now let us switch to Visual Studio Code and create some variables. So now we are in Visual Studio Code. Now let us type the basic part of the code. Now after writing this, let us create a variable named x of type int, then let us assign it a value of 12. Now let us declare another variable named y, which is also in type. Then let us assign it a value of 8. This is the basic variable declaration in the C programming language. Now let us save this file, and we will use it in our future purpose. Now let us move back to the presentation, and let us talk about what is input and output in programming. So, in general, whatever data which we give to the system is known as input. So after giving the input, the system will process the data and produce the output. Now what we have to take to notice is what type of data is taken into input and what type of data is given in the output. This type is known as data types. There is total 4 major data types in the C programming language, namely the integer data type, or int in short, the float data type. These are the real numbers in decimal system with single precision. Then we have the double data type. This is also a decimal data type, but it has a double precision of values. Then at last we have the character data type, or char in short. This contains single character data type. Now let us talk about size of data types. The int data type is 4 bytes, the float data type is 8 bytes, and the double data type has size of 8 bytes. Then at the last, the char data type has size of 1 byte. Now we have 2 types of qualifiers for these data types. They are the size qualifiers and sign qualifiers. The size qualifier is divided into 3 divisions, namely short, long, and long. Then at last, in the sign qualifiers, we have 2 divisions, namely signed and unsigned. Now starting with the size qualifier. The size qualifiers are used to set the size of the variable in bytes. The sign qualifiers are used to set the sign of the data type. The sign qualifier contains both negative and positive integers. And the unsigned qualifier has only positive integers. The benefit of using an unsigned qualifier is we can increase the storage by removing the negative range. Okay, now let us talk about scope of a variable. A scope of a variable means that the area or space where the variable can be used. Now there are two types of scope in all the programming language. They are namely local scope and global scope. First, let us talk about what is a local scope. Now the name local itself says that it is used very limited amount of space. This means that a local scope variable could only be accessed through some part of the code. The lifetime of the local scope variable is very less. A lifetime of a variable means that it is the amount of valid memory space allocated to the particular variable. Now let us talk about global scope of a variable. Global scope means that the variable can be used throughout the code. This means that they are valid anywhere in the given program. The lifetime of a global variable is equal to lifetime of the program. Now let us go to Visual Studio Code and let us see how to declare a local scope variable and a global scope variable. So first let us create a local scope variable. To create a local scope variable, we have to declare the variable inside the main function. This is the example of local scope variable. Now to declare a global scope variable, we have to declare the variable outside the main function. Now this variable could be used anywhere in the program. So these were some examples of global scope variable and local scope variable. Now let us talk about typecasting a variable. So in general, we have to know what is typecasting. So typecasting means changing data type of a variable to another data type. For example, if there is a variable declared in float type, it could be changed or typecasted to integer type. Now, as you can see an example of converting a decimal number to an integer data type number. Now while printing the variable, you can see %d, it is known as format specifier. Now let us see all the format specifiers which are more commonly used. Now %d is used for integer data type. %f is used for floating point number. %c is used for character. %s is used for string. %lf is used for double precision floating point number. %o is used to convert to octal number. %x is used to convert to hexadecimal number. %p is used to print the memory location of the variable. Now let me open Visual Studio Code and let us practice these format specifiers. Now in this example file, we can see the different format specifiers in the print condition. Take your time revising these format specifiers. I will share the PDF and exercise files in the description box and the comments box. Talking of comments, let us see how to use comments on your own code. So comments are a useful tool to describe a part of the code, then these commented lines are ignored by the compiler. So there are two types of comments, single-line comments and multi-line comments. Now let us see an example of a single-line comment and a multi-line comment in Visual Studio Code. Now after opening Visual Studio Code, let us create a single-line comment by typing // and typing whatever we like in one single line. Now to create a multi-line comment, the starting point should begin with / and star. Then it should end with star and a /. Now we can type whatever we want within these backslashes and stars. So this is the way of creating single line and multi-line comments to your code. Now we have come to the last part of the part 2. In this challenge 2, we have 4 questions to perform in your Visual Studio Code. So at first create different variables of different data types. Then create a local scope variable and a global scope variable. Then typecast a variable from floating point number to integer type number. Then at last add some single line and multi-line comments to your code. This should probably take 10 minutes to complete. Take your time, pause the video, then try the solution. Now let us go to the solution. Now this exercise file contains the solutions of the challenge questions. Now in the solution part, the first question we have to create different variables of different data types. So, In this first exercise file, we have created 4 variables of 4 known data type in the C programming language. Now in the second question, we have to create a local scope variable and global scope variable. So in the exercise 2 file, we can see that the variable above the main function is global scope variable, and the variable inside the main function is known as local scope variable. Now in the third question, to typecast a variable from floating point number to an integer number. Now in the third exercise file, as you can see that the variable is declared a value 5.9, then it is typecasted to an integer in the print function. Now at last in the fourth question, we were asked to create a single line comment and a multi-line comment. So in the fourth exercise file, we can see that we created a single line comment and we have created a multi-line comment. So by this, we have completed part 2 of our C programming journey. In the next video, we will talk about how to take input from the user. Then we will talk about mathematical operators. Then we will talk about order of precedence for these mathematical operators. Then we will talk about relational operators. Then we will talk about logical operators. Then at last we will discuss about unary operator. So thanks for spending some of your time to learn this course. Please share the video to your friends, so it will help them too. So thanks for watching this video. Peace.